Chapter 24. Elochka the Cannibal. Researchers estimate that William Shakespeare's vocabulary consisted of 12,000 words. The vocabulary of a black person from the cannibalistic Mumbo-Yumbo tribe consists of 300 words. Elochka Shukina got by easily and freely with 30. Here are the words, phrases, and interjections, meticulously chosen by her from the entire great, verbose, and mighty Russian language. You're being rude. Haha expresses, depending on the circumstances, irony, surprise, delight, hatred, joy, contempt, and satisfaction. Famous. Gloomy in relation to everything. For example, gloomy pedia came, gloomy weather, gloomy incident, gloomy cat, etc. Gloom. Creepy. For example, when meeting a good acquaintance, creepy meeting. Dude in relation to all male acquaintances, regardless of age or social standing. Don't tell me how to live my life. Like a baby, I beat him like a baby when playing cards. I cut him down like a baby, apparently, in conversation with the responsible tenant. Beautiful. Fat and beautiful, used as a characteristic of inanimate and animate objects. Let's take a cab, said to her husband. Let's take a taxi, to male acquaintances. You have white on your back, a joke. Big deal. Ulya, a diminutive ending for names. For example, Miss Julia Zinolia. Woe, irony, surprise, delight, hatred, joy, contempt, and satisfaction. The remaining extremely limited number of words served as a go-between between Elochka and the clerks at department stores. If you look at the photographs of Elochka Shukina hanging above the bed of her husband, engineer Ernest Pavlovich Shukin, one full face, the other in profile, it's easy to notice a forehead of pleasant height and convexity, large, moist eyes, the cutest little nose with a slight upturn in the Moscow province, and a chin with a small, ink-drawn spot. Elochka's height flattered men. She was small, and even the most puny men looked like big and mighty husbands next to her. As for distinguishing features, there were none. Elochka didn't need them. She was beautiful. 200 rubles that her husband received monthly at the Elektrolustra factory were an insult to Elochka. They couldn't help in the grandiose battle that Elochka had been waging for 4 years, ever since she took on the social position of housewife, Shukin's wife. The battle was waged with full exertion of forces. It consumed all resources. Ernest Pavlovich took evening work home, gave up the maid, lit the Primus stove, took out the trash, and even fried cutlets. But it was all fruitless. A dangerous enemy was destroying the household more and more each year. As already mentioned, Elochka had noticed 4 years ago that she had a rival across the ocean. Misfortune visited Elochka on that joyful evening when Elochka was trying on a very cute crepe de chine blouse. In this outfit, she seemed almost like a goddess. Aha, she exclaimed, reducing the amazingly complex feelings that had seized her being to this cannibalistic cry. In simplified terms, these feelings could be expressed in such a phrase. Seeing me like this, men will be excited. They will tremble. They will follow me to the ends of the earth, stammering with love, but I will be cold. Are they worth me? I am the most beautiful. No one on earth has such an elegant blouse. But there were only 30 words, and Elochka chose the most expressive of them, ha. In such a great hour, Fima Sobek came to her. She brought with her the frosty breath of January and a French fashion magazine. Elochka stopped at its first page. A sparkling photograph depicted the daughter of American billionaire Vanderbilt in an evening dress. There were furs and feathers, silk and pearls, an extraordinary lightness of cut, and a mind-blowing hairstyle. This decided everything. Whoa, Elochka said to herself. This meant either me or her. Morning of the next day found Elochka at the hairdresser's. Here, Elochka lost her beautiful black braid and dyed her hair red. Then she managed to climb one more step on the ladder that brought Elochka closer to the shining paradise where the daughters of billionaires stroll, not even fit to be Shukina's housewife. A dog skin depicting a Desmond was bought on installment. It was used to trim an evening gown. Mr. Shukin, who had long cherished the dream of buying a new drawing board, became somewhat despondent. The dress trimmed with dog fur struck the first accurate blow to the arrogant Vanderbilt. Then 3 blows in a row were struck to the proud American woman. Elochka acquired a chinchilla stole from the domestic furrier Fimochka Sobek, a Russian hare killed in the Tula province, got herself a pigeon hat made of Argentine felt, and remade her husband's new jacket into a fashionable women's vest. Billionaire wavered, but she was apparently saved by her loving papa, Vanderbilt. The next issue of the fashion magazine contained portraits of the cursed rival in 4 guises, 1 in black-brown foxes, 2 with a diamond star on her forehead, 3 in an aviation suit, high-lacquered boots, the finest green Spanish leather jacket, and gloves whose cuffs were encrusted with medium-sized emeralds, and 4 in a ball gown, cascades of jewels, and a little silk. Elochka mobilized. Papa Shukin took out a loan from the Mutual Aid Fund. They didn't give him more than 30 rubles. A new powerful effort fundamentally undermined the household. It was necessary to fight in all areas of life. Recently, photographs of Miss in her new castle in Florida had been received. Elochka also had to acquire new furniture. Elochka bought 2 soft chairs at an auction. A successful purchase, it was impossible to miss. Without asking her husband, Elochka took money from the grocery budget. 10 days and 4 rubles remained until the 15th. Elochka stylishly transported the chairs along Varsinafievsky Lane. Her husband was not at home. However, he soon appeared, dragging a suitcase briefcase with him. "Gloomy husband came," Elochka said distinctly. All the words were pronounced by her distinctly and popped out briskly, like peas. "Hello, Elenochka, and what is this? Where did the chairs come from?" "Holho." "No, Railies." "Beautiful." "Yes, the chairs are good." "Famus." "Did someone give them to you?" "Whoa." "What, did you really buy them? With what funds? Surely not with the household funds. I've told you 1,000 times." "Ernestulia, you're being rude." "Well, how can you do that? We'll have nothing to eat." "Big deal." "But this is outrageous. You're living beyond our means." "You're kidding." Yes, you're living beyond our means." "Don't tell me how to live my life." "No, let's talk seriously. I get 200 rubles. "Gloom." "I don't take bribes, I don't steal money, and I don't know how to counterfeit it." "Creepy." Ernest Pavlovich fell silent. "Here's what," he said finally, "we can't live like this." "Ha ha," Elochka retorted, sitting down on the new chair. "We need to break up." "Big deal." "We don't get along, You're a fat and beautiful dude. How many times have I asked you not to call me a dude?" "You're kidding." "And where did you get this idiotic jargon?" "Don't tell me how to live my life." "Oh hell," the engineer cried. "You're being rude, Ernestulia. Let's break up peacefully." "Whoa. You won't prove anything to me, this argument. I'll beat you like a baby." "No, this is completely unbearable. Your arguments can't stop me from the step I'm forced to take. I'm going to get a mover right now." "You're kidding." "We'll divide the furniture equally." "Creepy." "You'll get 100 rubles a month, even 120. The room will stay with you. Live as you like, but I can't live like this." "Famous," Elochka said contemptuously. "And I'll move in with Ivan Alexeyevich." "Whoa. He's gone to the dacha and left me his whole apartment for the summer. I have the key, only there's no furniture." "Beautiful." Ernest Pavlovich returned in 5 minutes with the janitor. "Well, I won't take the wardrobe, you need it more, but the desk, please be so kind. And take this chair, janitor. I'll take one of these 2 chairs. I think I have the right to." Ernest Pavlovich tied his things into a large bundle, wrapped his boots in newspaper, and turned to the door. "You have white on your back," Elochka said in a gramophone voice. "Goodbye, Elena." He expected that his wife would at least refrain from the usual metallic words in this case. Elochka also felt the importance of the moment. She strained and began to look for words suitable for parting. They were quickly found. "Going in a taxi, beautiful." The engineer slid down the stairs like an avalanche. Elochka spent the evening with Fima Sobek. They discussed an unusually important event that threatened to overturn the world economy. "It seems they'll be wearing long and wide things," Fima said, dipping her head into her shoulders like a chicken. "Gloom." Elochka looked at Fima Sobek with respect. Mademoiselle Sobek was known as a cultured girl. There were about 180 words in her vocabulary. At the same time, she knew one such word that Elochka couldn't even dream of. It was a rich word, homosexuality. Fima Sobek was undoubtedly a cultured girl. The lively conversation dragged on far past midnight. At 10 o'clock in the morning, the great schemer entered Varsinafievsky Lane. The same homeless boy from the day before ran ahead. The boy pointed out the house. "You're not lying." "No way, mister, right here, in the front entrance." Bender gave the boy an honestly earned ruble. "You need to add more," the boy said in a cab driver's manner. "Ears from a dead donkey, you'll get it from Pushkin. Goodbye, defective." Ostap knocked on the door, not thinking at all about what pretext he would use to enter. For conversations with ladies, he preferred inspiration. "Whoa," they asked from behind the door. "On business," Ostap replied. Door opened. Ostap entered a room that could only be furnished by a creature with the imagination of a woodpecker. Movie postcards, dolls, and Tambov tapestries hung on the walls. Against this motley background, which made your eyes water, it was difficult to notice the small mistress of the room. She was wearing a dressing gown made from Ernest Pavlovich's Tolstoy shirt and trimmed with a mysterious fur. Ostap immediately understood how to behave in high society. He closed his eyes and took a step back. "Beautiful fur," he exclaimed. "You're kidding," Elochka said gently. "It's Mexican Tunjan." "That can't be, you've been deceived. You've been given a much better fur. These are Shanghai leopards." "Well, yes, leopards, I recognize them by their shade. See how the fur plays in the sun, emerald, emerald." Elochka herself had painted the Mexican Tunjan with green watercolor, and therefore the praise of the morning visitor was especially pleasant to her. Not giving the hostess a chance to come to her senses, the great schemer poured out everything he had ever heard about furs. After that, they talked about silk, and Ostap promised to give the charming hostess several hundred silk cocoons brought to him as a gift by the chairman of the Central Executive Committee of Uzbekistan. "You're quite the dude," Elochka remarked as a result of the first few minutes of acquaintance. "You're probably surprised by the early visit of a strange man." "Ho-ho. But I'm here on a delicate matter." "You're kidding." "You were at the auction yesterday and made an extraordinary impression on me." "You're being rude." "Please, it's inhuman to be rude to such a charming woman." "Creepy." Conversation continued further in the same direction, which in some cases yields wonderful results, but Ostap's compliments became more and more watery and shorter each time. He noticed that there was no second chair in the room. He had to feel for the trace of the disappeared chair. Interspersing his inquiries with flowery oriental flattery, Ostap learned about the events of the past evening in Elochka's life. "A new case," he thought. "The chairs are scattering like cockroaches." "Dear girl," Ostap said unexpectedly, "sell me this chair. I like it very much. Only you, with your feminine intuition, could have chosen such an artistic thing. Sell it, girl. I'll give you 7 rubles. "You're being rude, dude," Elochka said slyly. "Ha-ha," Ostap explained. "I need to work with her on an exchange," he decided. "You know, now in Europe and in the best houses of Philadelphia, they have revived the old fashion, to pour tea through a strainer. It's unusually effective and very elegant." Elochka became wary. "I just happened to have a diplomat friend who came from Vienna and brought it as a gift, a funny thing." "It must be famous." Elochka became interested. "Whoa, haha, let's exchange. You give me the chair and I'll give you the strainer. Want to?" And Ostap took a small gilded strainer out of his pocket. The sun was rolling in the strainer like an egg. Sunbeams were jumping across the ceiling. The dark corner of the room was suddenly lit up. The thing made the same irresistible impression on Elochka as an old tin can makes on the cannibal Mumbo. In such cases, the cannibal shouts at the top of his voice, while Elochka quietly moaned. "Ho-ho." Not giving her a chance to come to her senses, Ostap put the strainer on the table, took the chair, and having learned the address of her husband from the charming woman, bowed gallantly.